Welcome back from that intense march between Angola and Nigeria. This is News Tonight. My name is Patricia Lokoma Mpango. Mugalu Mohammed is with us on sign language. As we start off with the NRM caucus, the members of the ruling National Resistance Movement Parliamentary Caucus have pledged to support the rationalization of government agencies and public expenditure. Following a meeting chaired by President Museveni in Entebbe, the caucus resolved to support RAPEX through the enactment of the legislation in Parliament sector by sector. This move signals potential swift of parliamentary approval for the initiative aimed at streamlining government agencies and reducing public expenditure. Now, we apologize. We have lost that sound, but we will be rectifying that in a short while. Now, Ministry of Energy and Mineral Development has finalized the process of connecting people living on Kalangala Islands to the electricity national grid. During the legislators' oversight tour of the electricity installations, it was established that electricity submarine cable is ready to evacuate power from the mainland of Busoga to the islands of Kalangala.
During the oversight tour by the Parliamentary Committee on Natural Resources under the guidance of the Electricity Regulatory Authority, the focus was put on the assessment of the performance and the state of electricity infrastructure in relation to the sector budgetary framework.
Duties in oversight is to see whether government is getting value for money, and I can't applaud government anymore when I see such an infrastructure being installed in the place.
The submarine electricity site at Busoga mainland provides the hope to the people living on Kalangala Island. The infrastructure is complete to transport electrons through Lake Victoria to connect islanders to the national electricity grid.
Using the submarine cable that now connects the main grid to the islands. We are doing this basically to improve the reliability of power on the islands, but also to manage the cost of power on the islands.
Now the power which is being taken to Bugala is coming all the way from Masaka on a normal 33 kV line, which then terminates into a cable from this point where we are, and the cable is 6 kilometers underwater up to another similar structure which is on the other side of the island.
Legislators commended the electricity sector as this development will bolster socio-economic transformation.
All along we've been having mini power plants in the island, but now with this project worth $7 million, the mainland is now connected to the island. So the island of Kalangala and Buvuma now have reliable power.
The power tariff in Kalangala, it has been on a high price. So with this connection, it will lower the cost of doing business in Kalangala and even here in Busoga.
Meanwhile, Committee members advised the electricity and energy sector to devise means of establishing a locally dedicated company to construct power substations instead of procuring high-cost foreign investors.
As a committee, we are going to look more critically on this matter. If it means amending the PPDA Act, we shall do so. If it means providing mechanisms of how we can nurture our nascent contractors, we should be able to do that. We have so many children. Government has invested a lot of money in the education of our children, but children are floating with degrees in engineering.
And that is why when we arrived here, we were briefed that the work that was abandoned by Insolax, that became bankrupt, is now being undertaken by the transmission company. So they have their groups, they call them gangs, that are located across the entire country. They have the Eastern Gang, the Northern, the one for the Western side. And these gangs are facilitated with equipment, both for Liveline. Liveline is where they work on the line when it is live. And then also they work on the line that is de-energized. So it is an issue of continuing to better our equipment that they use to do the work with modernized technology, but it is something that the regulator has already started providing for the transmission company.
The findings of the Parliamentary Committee on Natural Resources will provide a yardstick on determining budget allocation to the sector, especially programs intended to provide electricity to rural communities. Abdul Nasir Rwama for UBC.
Thank you very much there, Abdul Nasir, for a detailed report. Now, Makerere University has for the first time graduated a huge number of Uganda People's Defense Forces officials from its affiliate institutions of the National Defense College, Uganda, and Senior Command and Staff College, Kimaka, who have walked away with awards in different disciplines. Now, speaking during the 5th and final session of Makerere University's 74th graduation ceremony, Minister for Defense and Veterinary Affairs Vincent Bamlanga Chisempija said that graduating 85 of generous senior staff of UPDF enhances the skill gap or the skills gap and professionalism of officers in the country.
University has held the 5th and final session of the 74th graduation ceremony, where students from the College of Engineering, Design, Art and Technology, plus those from the College of Humanities and Social Sciences graduated with diplomas, degrees, masters and PhDs in various disciplines. State Minister for Culture in the Ministry of Gender, Labour and Social Development, Peace Mutuzu, has been conferred with a Doctor of Philosophy after her study on affirmative action for women's political and gender transformation in Uganda, recommending a 50-50% of gender equality.
I also established that the open seat had been now perceived to be a preserve for men. And when a woman chooses to contest on the open seat, you are pushed back to your own seat, affirmative action seat. It is not leading us to gender transformation. So of this matter, we'll be having one woman representative per district and one man representative per district.
The College of Humanities and Social Sciences has presented a total of 85 Uganda People's Defense Forces generals, senior and junior staff officers.
Historical in the lifetime of Makerere and the UPDF, where for the first time a large number of officers from our affiliated institutions of the National Defense College, Senior Command and Staff College Kimaka are walking away with awards.
Not only physical, you must have mental security. You must understand the concepts. And you cannot understand the concepts of security without going to class and doing research and analyzing deep and trying to comprehend and then translate what you have understood into practical offering of security.
While receiving the bumper harvest of officers, Minister for Defense and Veteran Affairs, Vincent Bamlanga Chisempija, said the achievement follows a firm collaboration between the UPDF and Makerere University to bridge the skills gap and enhance professionalism of the officers.
You have joined hands with His Excellency the President of the Republic of Uganda and the Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces to build a modern, skilled, strong and disciplined army.
Colonel Edith Nakalema, the head of State House Investors Protection Unit, and Brigadier General Flavia Biekwaso are some of the senior officers who have graduated with a master's degree in security strategy.
Acquired enough knowledge to promote economics in our country, economic development, by ensuring that every investment in the country is protected, and not just with a gun, protected with wisdom.
Planners at the helm of the security, we now know that it is no longer the state. It's no longer the state, but it's the person. It is that person. It begins with that person, how that person is. Like I've said, how she's sleeping, how she's feeding, whether she's going to school, whether there's medicine in the hospitals.
Patrick Onyango, Kampala Metropolitan Police spokesperson, together with other police officers, were awarded with Master of Arts in Peace and Conflict Studies.
Conflict studies. This will help me in resolving issues of members of the public, especially conflicts. Help police in one or another, because we shall be better. We are now better equipped. We are now knowledgeable.
The best students from both colleges were recognized and awarded.
What I hope to do is to change, maybe to teach people Chinese language, because I've been teaching some students Chinese language.
I'm Navka Farida and Dan Lugema in Makerere.
The Ministry of Education and Sports has concluded a Senior 1 placement of pupils who sat for their primary leaving examinations in 2023. While closing the 2 days exercise, State Minister for Sports Peter Ogwang, who represented the Minister for Education and Sports Janet Kataham-Seveni, directed school administrators to not levy admission fees to these selected students.
Senior 1 placement by the Ministry of Education and Sports is a government initiative involving selection of suitable students to different secondary schools as per their choices. This year, at least 48,662 students passed the 2023 primary leaving examinations, and only 15,160 have been selected to join secondary school in this year's placement exercise.
Is for these head teachers to ensure that all eligible candidates are admitted. The computer list generated for each school has a list of all candidates that applied to that school. It indicates those that have been admitted to that school, those that have been sold to other schools, and those that have not been placed anywhere.
The remaining unselected total of 133,502 learners will be absorbed by some private schools and technical vocational training institutions.
Also to the community polytechnics and the technical schools. Both of these channels are currently open and the applications are being received. Applications to the 41 TVET institutions that admit P7 leavers will close on the 9th of February. And their selection will be conducted on the 12th of February this year.
Schools are directed to display admitted students so that parents mobilize the resources in time. And one thing to note here is that no pre-entry exam is allowed for this kind of admission.
Please do not set other conditions like interviews when you go back. If you are going to fill the places that have already been given to you here, admit the students like you have done it here.
State Minister for Sports Peter Ogwang has represented the First Lady, also Minister for Education and Sports Janet Kataham-Seveni. He cautioned against school administrators' habit of levying admission fees on this selection of government arrangement.
As government and as a ministry, we do not expect again you to ask these students or these pupils to pay money to get those admissions.
Head teachers have decried delayed payment of teachers' salaries and asked for the centralization of secondary schools management to address this anomaly.
Some districts that have not been paid even in November salary. We have also discovered that in as much as you have deployed teachers to different districts, some are going to bounce back to the ministry because they are claiming there is no wage. You yourselves, you are finding it difficult. You are transferring somebody from Buikwe to Masaka. The Masaka people will say we have no wage. And the schools are having gaps, yet they should have been filled up.
We'll be much more interested in those districts who delay to pay wage for teachers when government has released this money to the respective local governments. I will be very, very interested as a ministry for purposes of emphasis and follow-up to those respective accounting officers as to why they delay people's money, because these are their entitlements. That's why they're employed to work.
Head Teachers Association has also unveiled that at least 400 head teachers are operating as caretakers in acting capacity, which warrants immediate intervention of deploying substantive school heads for effectiveness. Abdul Nasir Lubwama for UBC.
Now, Brigadier General David Gonyi and UPDF Air Force Chief of Staff has urged the people of Busoga to be patriotic and use their talents to earn a living for themselves. He was representing the UPDF Chief of Defense Forces, General Wilson Mbasumbadi, at a ceremony to promote the talents of the people in Busoga, Jinja.
Richard, balikumbwaza medo era balikumugana emitwala aya alikutengeza baina we mulingirire esunze nnyo okujja okubeerawo kubanga ye muna sports era abadde amanyi nti ajja kuwangula marathon. Ensonga lwaki tuteekawo bino mu bita bikujjuko okubeerawo nga bino ebya sports si bye byokka bye tukoze. Buli gye tugenda mu region zonna tukola ebintu bingi. Tuzimbira abantu betumanyi nti beetaaga obuyambi nga bagambye essomero ly'abaana abaliko obulemu ne twabakoledde dormitory, tuzimbye ebyoloni mu bifo abatabaddewo amasomero gabadde nga tebalina babuyita ki toilets called what ebyokweyambisa akabuyonjo tabadde nakabuyonjo nnungi era twazizimbye kati nabo ne tubawa tulongooseza abantu tujjanjabe abantu abadde n'endwadde eza buli engeri tukirininze tulongooseza ekibuga obutale buli wamu tukola ebintu bingi naye ate n'ekikulu ekirala emizannyo gireeta abantu okukolera awamu. So wano guno gwe gumu gwe tukoledde wano ne district zonna eziri mu Busoga ebintu bye bimu bikoleddwa naye lonchene yaawona ya sports leero ya marathon ne bicycle riding ebadde yakuleeta Busoga yonna district zonna wano okubanga tukolera wamu okulaga obumu. Ate ffe tukola ebintu bino kubanga tudda mu bantu mwe tuva abantu betukola nabo abatuyambye bulijjo okubeebaza ebintu bye batukoledde ngaafa UPDF amagye g'eggwanga.
Now, away from Tarehe Sita into Rengo land, Minister of State for Lands, Dr. Sam Mayanja, has suspended the Principal Assistant Secretary of Masaka District Zonal Lands Office over allegations of corruption and double titling of land. Minister Mayanja issued a warning threatening to shut down the land office in Masaka town. He ordered the arrest of the LC3 chairman implicated in the scandal. Well, it looks like we have some bit of a mix-up on that story, but we will be bringing it up in a short while. Now, alteration of petroleum lubricants, which is currently a flourishing business in Uganda, can lead to economic loss, increased emissions, and deterioration of performance in parts of the engines using the adulterated petroleum lubricant. In tonight's special report on effects of adulterated oil, Sudat Kaye looks at UNBS's operation into Shamba Complex.
Get sure when the prices will drop.
This is Shamba Complex, a hide for many of the culprits involved in adulteration of petroleum lubricants in Kampala. A beehive of activities goes on here, but top is adulteration of petroleum lubricants. This week, Uganda National Bureau of Standards conducted an operation to get rid of perpetuators of adulterated petroleum lubricants housed in Shamba Complex. The riot followed reports from Uganda Lubricants that their product, codenamed General Lubricant, is adulterated by dealers in petroleum lubricants at Shamba Complex. UNBS officials, with a reinforcement of mobile police from Uganda Police Force, stormed many of the outlets on Shamba Complex dealing in petroleum lubricants.
They're well equipped.
The operation obtained exhibits of adulterated General Petroleum lubricant. Shamba Complex is synonymously known for harboring culprits of adulterated petroleum lubricants. In 2019, police conducted a similar raid at Shamba Complex, raided and arrested several suspects of adulterated petroleum lubricants. But the cartel remains persistent at this complex.
But what has been found is that there is too much in terms of fake products, in terms of foodstuffs, in terms of fuels and lubricants, in terms of mattresses and many others. What we have just seen this morning at Shamba Complex is just one out of the many. And the Interpol spearheading this will give a comprehensive report in the course of next week. Some arrests were made and we are investigating who are in this illicit trade. Is to just raise this bar and tell you that there is a problem out there in the market. How we are going to solve it, we have also explained. Investigation, apprehending those in this illicit trade, and of course prosecution of the same people.
Despite the 2019 arrest, the problem of adulterated petroleum lubricants at Shamba Complex has remained magnified for high-performance modern engines. Adulteration of petroleum lubricants cause health problems directly in form of increased tailpipe emissions of harmful and sometimes carcinogenic pollutants. Fuel adulteration causes marked effects on the tailpipe emissions of vehicles. Adulterants alter the chemistry of the base fuel, rendering its quality inferior to the required commensurate fuel quality for the vehicles. This in turn affects the combustion dynamics inside the combustion chamber of vehicles, increasing the emissions of harmful pollutants significantly. Timothy Sbasi, UBC TV.
Now, the fishing community in Uganda has been encouraged to renew their fishing licenses in order to avoid inconveniences come April 2024. This reassurance comes in a wake of reports of mishandling by the Fisheries Protection Unit something State Minister for Fisheries Helen Ador blames on what she terms as non-trained soldiers.
Their licenses may have expired at the end of December 2023. But this does not stop them from going to the water bodies. This is the sigh of relief that fishermen have got as the fishing licensing renewal process goes on.
We give them a grace period of 3 months. So January, February and March, we are registering them again. And no one should arrest them because they are now registering, and then by April we tighten our knots.
The successful acquiring of the licenses will eliminate any anomalies on the lakes. This also includes manhandling by security forces, as recently reported.
I want to encourage those ones who have not yet got their permit that please get the permit so that you do your business without any interference.
For a sector proved to be second to coffee in earning Uganda foreign exchange, there is need for dialogue. Adoa echoed this during a community engagement in Serere district on Thursday.
We have to plan and see that we put these people in groups so that in those groups they are able to buy nets, they are able to buy engines, they are able to buy boats.
The engagement is part of a series that she has conducted since the launch of the parish development model in February 2022. She decries the size of some parishes as a setback to PDM success.
The town councils are smaller because they have cells that are very, very small. So you find that a ward gets money and they have started even repeating, while the sub-county is suffering because some parishes are like sub-counties. So that's the biggest problem I've seen here. The majority of people have not got money because they have bigger parishes.
Out of 15 sub-counties in Serere district, 11 have been covered in her quest to monitor government programs. Henry Okrut, UBC.
Well, let's get back to that story that we missed, the story about the Lwengo land, where Minister of State for Lands, Dr. Sam Mayanja, suspended the Principal Assistant Secretary of Masaka District Zonal Land Office over allegations of corruption and double titling of land.
The minister issued instructions to Lwengo District RDC Walugembe Ramadhan during a meeting held at Kwami Village, Kabalongi Sub-County, Lwengo District.
You obtained the money by false pretenses. You then mumugwate kakati watwala sente z'omuntu tebasasula oyo mugwatirewo akati ne munne bombi bakwatibwe kwebwa obukubi bwonna sabu RDC omukyalo ono mw'obukubi bwonna okulaba nti ekibanja kye tewali amuteganya.
Seven came here to bring peace and stability and security to the people, and that's what they are enjoying. Now, what has been happening in Lwengo, a few people who think they are rich, they have been bulldozing the locals from their land. So up there's that lady whom they were chasing from her piece of land, leaving her with only 2 acres. I've directed the RDC to put her back into possession and to ensure that she's given constant security. She has quietness of possession. The president directed far back in 2013, 22 August, that such people should be given security, those evicting them to be arrested and charged in accordance with the law.
Minister Sam Mayanja was briefed about the prevalence of double titling and corruption within the land offices of Masaka and Lwengo. This prompted the minister to order suspension of the Masaka District Zonal Land Officer due to corruption and issues of duplicate land titles.
Tired, sick and tired of fraud. I want to suspend you now. From that office, report to my office tomorrow, 9 o'clock. Don't touch anything in that office.
Local leaders attribute the escalating land disputes in the area corruption.
Honorable Minister Sam Mayanja, he has reassured our people to continuously use their land and make sure they are not evicted. The minister has given directives, and the DPC, I'm sure, will, to that effect, make sure that they are arrested and investigated.
Abantu abulime balina nze ndowooza nti ensonga zandikoleddwa ensonga 3. Ensonga esooka security eya gavumenti yandivudde mu nsonga z'ettaka kubanga yesezze nnyo okubaalako obugulumbo. Ensonga ey'okubiri, ekkooti yandibadde esala mangu nnyo emisango gino egibanga gyangwa mu kkooti.
Tenants lamented about land grabbers utilizing government connections to unlawfully seize their land.
Namugamba yabwa omukyalo oyo kubanga eri bafensinga ekibanja kye kamugo yadda mu kwebuzaabuza ng'agamba akana akawala ka sekuritale kujamba omukyalo mwandika ebbaluwa mangu nga yefuulako nnyo sebaawo navaawo obudde nga bugenze saawa kumpi 9 nga netoloolera wali ewaradisi sigwa mukama wange gwe nkwebaza nnyo.
Legislators in Rengo District pledge to guarantee that residents can settle on their land free from any obstacle or hindrance.
Abantu abali ku ttaka ku bibanja batuli ku kategori ya bibanja, abantu abo nga baali bateekwa okubeera nti basasulibwa ssente zaabwe mu compensation nga bakola oluguudo luno. They are about 40 people and above. Abantu abasukka 40 naye abantu ababanjiza ssente kale nze sijja kweyogerako nange ndi mbabanja naye nze sijja kweyogerako bajagala interest yange gye promotinga nange banjaza amaanyi awo kuba ndi wawa naye abasinga obungi wali abalina ebibanja byabwe abalyazamanyizibwa ne batasasula ensobi gye bakola banoonyayo banene bebasasula. Abaavu abankuseeni tebasasulibwa. Abantu bano banyiga ebiwundu ku mutima kubanga balwadde.
Robert Katamba, Jamil Sekaja, UBC News.
Quite sad. Now looking at the issue of wetlands, as the world marks Wetlands Day, Friday today, Ugandans are encouraged to embrace the conservation campaign as a vehicle to safeguard the country's rich biodiversity. This as Uganda is working towards restoring wetland cover to at least a tune of 15.6% by 2034.
Environmental conservation is everybody's responsibility. I repeat, environmental conservation is everybody's responsibility. It's not the responsibility of government or religious leaders or donors. It's everybody's responsibility. And as such, I'm here in a special way to call upon every single Ugandan, young, old, male, female, to take up your own aspects, invest time, establish a seedbed. If you don't have money, pick a fruit, jackfruit, mango, guava, protect that seed, wash it, dry it, look after it. When the rains come in the next 3-4 weeks, grow it. Don't just plant it, but grow it. That's the only way we protect our wetlands. 2, if you can, each one, teach one on the importance of wetlands and on the role that we each can play.
Fred!
Osmosis.
Freddy! Fred Dollar, my boss, CEO Inojo, the general of generals, the conqueror of conquerors, the first and the final, the sky above the skies, the promised land, the terms and the conditions, the international king crocodile, the source of the
Osmosis.
the Nile.
I don't have money today.
Just take a polite loan of 200k to stock my shop. The signs and symptoms of success. The bank commander, not the bank teller.
Why hassle for a loan when you've got MTN Momo? We're sorting it. Use
the Momo app or dial *165*5# for all quick loans. Choose from the different loan options from our partners and get one that works for you. Together, we're unstoppable.
Metu Bus Industries, Namamve, the manufacturers of buses for transporters, schools, tour operators, and special purpose vans and any customized vehicle. Metu Bus Industries offers a range of buses known for safety, comfort, and reliability. Depending on your needs, a bus can simply be a point A to point B people mover with just seats, or a special design that includes power outlet, Wi-Fi, television, refreshment center, and any other specification. Buy your buses from Metu and support industrialization of Uganda. Contact us on 0788 118586 or 0782 030303. Email us metuafricabus@gmail.com. Visit our website www.metubusafrica.com.
Get value for your money by choosing the right paint. With Global Paints, you don't just paint, but paint for generations to come. Make Global Paints a paint of choice and make your building a paradise. We have weather coat emulsion, undercoat emulsion, silk vinyl emulsion, flat emulsion, super gloss, and high gloss. Global Paint, a reliable product.
In the world of business, welcome back. Now, Airtel Uganda has appreciated different students from a number of schools who recently, in the 2023 primary living examinations, took a token of appreciation, including all necessary school supplies to these pupils, and they are joining the secondary school. Well, we do apologize. The story that we go with is Minister for Works and Transport, General Edward Katumba Wamala, has cautioned people against trading on walkways and road reserves, saying it is illegal and anyone apprehended conducting any business on these gazetted areas will face a long term in the law.
Minister for Works and Transport, General Katumba Wamala, has issued a stern warning to roadside vendors in Kampala and other urban centers across the country.
I just want to make it clear that trading in the road reserve, trading on the walkway is illegal. According to the Road Safety Act, which was passed by Parliament 2019, so I've already sent a circular out to all what we call the road agencies, KCCA, UNRA, local governments, to implement this law because it's there. You know, Ugandans, we say the laws are there, but we don't follow them. Now this law must be followed.
General Katumba Wamala, accompanied by officials from Kampala Capital City Authority, Uganda Police Force, and the National Roads Authority, were at the media center in Kampala to update the nation on the roads infrastructure developments post the NAM and G77 plus China summits.
We're going to continue the tree planting campaign. We were lucky that during the NAM events, HAM gave us 100,000 royal palm trees. We're going to continue to plant them along in the road reserve throughout the entire Kampala. They'll demarcate the extent or protect the corridors of the road.
When you encroach
on the road shoulders where cyclists would be free to cycle, you are putting the cyclists at a high risk because you reduce the motorable road.
If you saw what was happening in NAM, the kind of enforcement that was happening in NAM, the one that is going to come after this is more systematic. It will be tougher.
The Works and Transport Minister cautioned motorists from breaking the traffic rules and also gave guidelines on the usage of the Kampala flyover.
On that flyover, we shall not allow border borders, cyclists, pedestrians, and vehicles above 7.5 tons. They will not be allowed on that flyover. Why? Because on the flyover high up, there is no provision for a lane for a border. So you'll be conflicting with a speeder vehicle on that flyover. In the tunnel, there's no provision for border lane. So border should not use the tunnel because you'll again conflict with the vehicles.
Kampala residents are urged to support government in its quest to bring sanity to the city. Dennis Igoa for UBC News.
Well, let's have a recap on that Airtel Uganda story. That seems the company appreciated different pupils from a number of schools who excelled in the 2023 primary living examinations.
Over 15 pupils from several Airtel adopted schools have received scholastic supplies that include mattresses, books, suitcases, and blankets, among others. These are expected to be of great importance to their new journey as they join secondary school.
Academic excellence is always a collective effort, and thus we are continuously fostering partnerships where we can positively contribute to the communities we serve under our Airtel Care program, corporate social responsibility program, where we touch lives across the three pillars of education, health, and agriculture.
The beneficiaries include pupils from Masaka, Wakiso, Iganga, and Kampala District C that do not only benefit from receiving scholastic materials, but also school services by the communication network.
And it's our duty, as part of our sustainability, to ensure that we're investing back in society, but we haven't stopped there. In 2022, we signed up a partnership again in education with UNICEF to ensure that we are delivering internet in schools. And by the end of the 5th year of the partnership, we believe that we'll have connected about 300 schools in order to break barriers so that you don't need to build a wall or to go over a wall for a student in a rural area to access the learning resources that someone else in Kampala, parents, accesses. We have the internet, we have the network to deliver that.
Airtel Uganda vows to stand with the parents and the pupils to make learning easier, no matter the distance.
That are dedicated to learning. And the important thing about that is that we are now allowing parents, there is no child who should fail homework when they have a smartphone at home.
Education stands as one of the Airtel Uganda's corporate social responsibility, with the rest being healthy and agriculture. Robert Katamba, Marion Awol, UBC News.
Now, as we complete our bulletin, we step into the world of sport, where Uganda's national golf team has played immaculately on this day of Victoria Golf Cup at the Par 75 Uganda Golf Club Kitante. With the third round wiped out due to rain, Uganda's team approached the fourth round 4-ball better in the afternoon engagement, looking for nothing but victory to reduce the 5-5 points to 2-5 points. And that's the part that the Kenyan team enjoyed. Now, rightly so, the team didn't disappoint the coach Flavia Namakula's pairing as they yielded results. Now, Titus Okwang and Andrew Sechiveja beat the Kenyan duo of Dennis Mara and Michael Karanga 5 and 3, while Joseph Chinyai and Joseph Kasozi aged John Lejimera and Bill Omoro 1 up. Ibrahim Bagalana and John Musimenta also aged Sami Mulama and Beiju Christ 2 and 1, while Amon Bwambale and Elton Thembo were all square with Adele Balala and Elvis Mugwa. The Ugandan performance means that the two teams are level 6 all, with just the singles category to play on Saturday. Well, thank you so much for allowing us into your space. We wouldn't want to take much of your time. We're heading back to the main studios where the sports team is ready to take you on in the next match.
Back, of course, we had Nigeria winning their game against Angola now.